Hi, I'm Mike Bellevue, and today we're taking a look at the Charleville Musket. And it's very similar to the weapons that were provided to the United States for the Revolutionary War by France. Now, this replica is made by Pedersoli in Italy, and it's sold by Taylors & Company in Winchester, Virginia. Now, you won't find this gun on Taylor's website, so if you want it, just ask them for it, because they do have them. They have a number of things that are not listed on their website. So if you're in the know, you can get it. Now, Taylor's thinks this is a 1777 model Charleville, and that's how they invoiced it. It is actually a 1766 model Charleville replica. And the easiest way to tell is the first barrel band forward of the lock on a 1777 would be held by a spring-loaded button. And on the 66 it's not. It's a friction fit. So that's the most obvious difference. Also, the drop at the butt is about an inch farther with the 1766 than it is with the 1777. And that actually makes this 66 more comfortable to shoot. Of course, the military loaded with paper cartridges, and that was an entirely different procedure. The way that worked, took one of these paper cartridges, bit it off with your teeth, you primed it directly from the paper. Closed the frizzen, set it down, poured the remaining charge right down the bore, and then, and this is in the American method, then you took that whole cartridge and you just pushed it down the barrel. Since paper cartridges are made to be shot at opposing troops, I've got a silhouette target set up 50 yards away, actually 40 yards away, moved up a little bit. And let's see if we can hit it with these paper cartridges. Well, these military muskets, like the Charleville, had a reputation for inaccuracy. And that's largely a function of the way they were loaded with military-style paper cartridges that really lend themselves to inaccurate fire. But they're capable of pretty good accuracy if they're loaded right. And the way to get the most accuracy out of them is to load them with a patched round ball. Now, there's not much documentation for that in the 18th century, but I find it hard to believe that it didn't happen. There are other civilian methods of loading, but I'm sure that, especially in areas where rifles were well known, that patching the ball is exactly what people would do. Now, I've always thought that long hunters, mountain men, gone for a year at a time from civilization, they didn't have a lot of cloth for patching. And what they had a lot of were deer hides, which I've got right here. And I think that that's what they used for patching, though they had to use a smaller ball. This is a 69 caliber musket, but I'm going to use a 60 caliber ball with this deer hide. And we'll just load it up. So I'm going to load it with 100 grains of 2FG powder. I'll just pour that measure right down. I've greased the deer hide with my usual black powder lube mixture, which is 2/3 lamb's tallow, 1/3 beeswax. And this ball is a fairly loose fit. I can push it down with my thumb, but it'll be tight enough for good accuracy. Now we'll just cut the patching off of here, and we will be good to go. Now, I could use a short starter, but this will really go down just fine using just a ramrod. I'll push it down on the powder charge. And we can see what it does out on the range. Well, we've got the Charleville loaded up with a patched round ball and 100 grains of 2F powder. Redcoat Roy is lurking 25 yards downrange, which just shows you how much confidence I've got in my ability to hit with this. So let's see if we can make them ring. Got him. Well, the most common civilian method of loading a gun like the Charleville, and this is also the method that would have been used by light troops who were skirmishers trying to pick off the enemy formations, would have been to have used a bare 68 caliber ball and wad it with balls of tow. A little ball of tow. And what tow is, of course, tow is the fiber of the flax plant. This is what would get woven into linen. But it had a lot of uses in the 18th and early 19th century, and gun wadding was certainly one of them. So we're going to fill a 100 grain powder measure. Drop that in the barrel. Going to take a ball of tow and just push it right into the muzzle. Take the ramrod and I'm going to seat it right on top of that powder charge. So we'll just send it down. Seat it on the powder charge. Now I'm going to take a 68 caliber ball, drop that in, seat it down. And another ball of tow to keep that ball in place. And now we're ready to go. Well, let's see how we do on Evil Roy with the Charleville Musket with a 68 caliber bare ball wadded with tow. Well, I get asked quite a bit about cleaning black powder firearms, so I thought I'd just give you a little fast shot at this. Muskets are a little bit different. Musket ramrods on the bottom are threaded like this to take a variety of tools and accessories. And in this case, we're going to be putting on this tool. It's called a worm. And I'm just going to screw it right onto the bottom of the ramrod, and as you can see, it's kind of a corkscrew affair. And what that's meant to do is to take a ball of tow and you just twist it in there, and of course that corkscrew grabs it nice and tight. Now, in the 18th century, and in fact in the field, they would have used hot water to do this, just boiled up some water. I'm going to spray this with a ballistol and water mixture because I don't feel like starting a fire out here at the range. So I'm just going to get that good and wet. Make sure it's attached well. Okay, I'm going to take this mess and I'm going to run it right down the bore. And I'm just going to swab it good. And you can see it is pretty filthy. Okay, so that's good stuff right there. Filthy fouling. So I'm just going to pull that off, throw it away, and I'm going to take a dry ball of tow, and I'm going to mix that. And I'm going to send that down. And I'm just going to swab the bore once again. Now I'm going to give it a few minutes to dry. I think I'll make one more pass. Then I'll give it a few minutes to dry and it'll be good to reload. Now I do a more substantial cleaning when I get back to the shop or back to the camp. But this has had probably a dozen shots through it, and it was starting to get tough to load. And when that happens, you just got to clean them out. So now I should be good for another dozen shots. But it's messy. Well, let's see what that 68 caliber ball can do to a water jug. Well, let's finish off with the redcoats view of the 1766 Charleville musket.